Dhanyavada Archana and Dhwani Legal for having me here with you today. Ellargu namaskara. Of course, this is an absolute privilege to be sitting in a lawyer's office talking about 143 PNS. But well, next slide. All of you know that human trafficking, the Anti-Human Trafficking Day is 30th. But we today are going to be talking about human trafficking. What is this human trafficking? So Archana already told you that it is movement of people from one place to another illegally. And ಸಾಗಾಣಿಕೆ ಮಾನವ ಕಳ್ಳ ಸಾಗಾಣಿಕೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಆಕ್ರಮಣದ ಸಾಗಾಣಿಕೆ. So for a very long time, the blame was always on women. So ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು ಹಿಂಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಹಂಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ. But you and I know that that is not the fact. That is not the truth. So before we go, just have a look at this slide that talks about the scale and impact. Anybody tells you Manava Kalla Saganike, human trafficking is a social evil, is a liar. This is not a social evil, this is a crime. We must address it as a crime. Article 23 of the Constitution is so clear. No human trafficking, forced labor, children cannot be put to work. It's very, very clear. Then we have our laws. And it talks of it as a crime, but the narrative that comes across is, how to take care of this social evil. So when you say the phrase social evil, what happens? The blame, the responsibility is placed on all of us, the society. So what is the role of the state? The state is doing so many good things. What is it doing good things? So those are all questions you and I have to ask. 6 million Indians in forced labor. So when you look at human trafficking, you also know that a large number of them are for forced and bonded labor. The next group is for sexual exploitation. So when you look at sexual exploitation, you will see everything from pornography to cybercrime to grooming. All of that comes within that. In sexual exploitation, the highest number are women and children. The most vulnerable and those who are ignored and sidelined. So my system itself sidelines and ignores them. Then you come to this to say, what is the money involved? Take a wild guess and think, what is the money involved? What is the kind of money that is involved? Buying and selling of people. For what we'll do next. But buying and selling of people, there are different numbers that come. But if there is an idea in my head that, okay, sexual exploitation happens in Kamatipura, okay, or Sonagachi. And in Kamatipura, there are about 3 lakh women and children. On an average, this was a survey that was done in 2005-06. On an average, every person over there supposedly has to earn this 15 to 16,000 rupees a day. So you have to service that many of those people. See the words used, service people. So the person who's doing or put into this kind of a position is who? You're there. If it's 15,000 rupees and it's 3 lakh people, and of course there is no Raja, what's the kind of money? If you do your calculations on your phone, the screen is not enough for those zeros. We're talking of 2006. Avaga 16,000 per person per day. ಈಗ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನ ನಾನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಾ? Will I let go of that money because that commission and the mamul from that beat police from that pimp, from that auto driver, from whoever it is, there's a plethora of people who are party to allowing something like this to happen. All of them are earning some little money, and it goes all the way up to the Sadhan, Vidhana Sabha, whichever Sadhan you want, it is there. that kind of money I'm not going to let go. So when we talk of a crime and when we look at the narrative that is being put, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಈವಿಲ್, ಪಾಪ ಇದು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬಡವರಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಪಾಪ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆ ಊರಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ನೆರೆಟಿವ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿನ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಲೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಗೋ. Of course, now we are looking at all of this. You know that poverty is very high. If you look at this slide, it will show you that, okay, you're seeing all Chhattisgarh and West Bengal and all of those states. In India, in the world, there is no place where there is no human trafficking. Somewhere I read that Bhutan does not have human trafficking. But if you look at Bhutan, again, it's a small country, but then look at Iceland. It's a smaller country. There's human trafficking there. Go to the next one. Major hotspots, these are all, I'm going to leave the slide back. It's there with you, Archana. Please read it at leisure because we have just about 1 hour. We'll do more of conversations and understanding of the situation that is there on the field. All of these hotspots, have a look at it. You will go back and you will see the kind of policies that are there with my government pushing people to become poorer and poorer. And who are those people becoming poor? Archana mentioned it. It is a group of people belonging to a certain caste or castes, a subordinate caste. And this group of people is a huge number. It's not a small number. With due respect to everybody here, I am not against anybody. Just check how many Brahmins and Kshatriyas have been trafficked. No, we look after them very well. Really? Which means I don't look after my child very well. So you see, you don't want to get caught in those narratives. This is literally on the Dalit SCSTs. Others are also poor, but they don't get trafficked. This group gets trafficked because there is nobody also asking those right questions. Even today, the police will go all the way up to DG office to file an SCST atrocity. Sections ಹಾಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೇನೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸಮಯ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಹಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Yeah, next please. Just want to give you the statistics of having very strong, stringent laws and see the numbers over there. 179 cases were booked. You want to corroborate this with missing children and missing women. That number goes only Karnataka in thousands. Then why only 179 booked under human trafficking? Keep that question at the back of your head. And 44 cases by this 2026. April nalli 44 cases. Only in Bengaluru. So we are not even looking at the rest of Karnataka, and you and I know that smart cities are mushrooming everywhere. So when you look at smart city, every time you look at something called as a city, as so-called progress, so-called development, you know that all of these issues have already begun even before construction of the road began. So those smart cities have also are having all of these issues. The other challenge is the shift to encrypted apps and social media for recruitment. We'll understand via law what is recruitment later on. Ashtondu missing, all of these cases that are filed, and 831 women rescued. Have they really been rescued from human trafficking in brothels and pornography, or the police has put in a number over there to talk about those who have been rescued from other sexual assault and crimes that are sexual in nature? Of course, research and surveys show that there are more human slaves, not simply vis-a-vis population. ಆ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಈಗ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೊ ಸ್ಲೇವ್ರಿನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ, 100 ವರ್ಷ ಹಿಂದೆ 100 ಜನ ಇದ್ರು. ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ವರ್ ಸ್ಲೇವ್ಸ್? 10 or 20 ವರ್ ಸ್ಲೇವ್ಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು 10,000 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ? ಆ ಒಂದು ಲೆಕ್ಕನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಶುಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿ? ಅಬೌಟ್ 1,000. But what is it today? Almost 7,000. So you're looking at this many number that is in slavery of different kinds. Next. So I was talking about the illicit profit. I got these numbers from the net. Much of the statistics, you cannot get it in any department, especially for something like this. Now the net tells that it is about 1,500 crores annually. We are just behind drugs. But why are we not talking so much about drug trafficking? Why are we talking so much about human trafficking? Because human beings can be sold again and again and again. If you hear some of the case studies and stories of people who have been rescued, and people who will tell us about what happened to their friends in those places from where they were rescued, they will say when they see there is a woman who can no longer, she's too ill, she's too old, no longer now service. What else can I get from her? Her organs? Her eyes? Somebody said they called a beauty parlor to come and shave off her hair because it was so thick and long, they could make wigs to sell in thousands. There is this woman who's dying, who's going to die in the next 2-3 hours. That is the level where we have reached. So don't get into your thing, oh, human beings sold, bought. We have reached the space where she's dying. I know she's dying. So I'm going to now shave her head because a couple of thousands can be made from her hair with the wigs. So that is where we are. Is there a law that says don't shave her head? Should we get a law? I'll leave that for you to think. It's the most lucrative business in the entire world. ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. MSMEನಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಬೇರೆ LLM ಇದು SIPನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Here there is no monetary investment, but it is the most lucrative. I can become a trafficker and earn money. And money is guaranteed. Nowhere is there a loss. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಅಂತೂ ಡೌಟೇ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಲುಕ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿಕ್ಟಿಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಟೀಸ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್. Again, when you look at caste and gender, you will see children, women, and trans persons. LGBTQO, all of them will be victims and low risk, high profit. Next. Okay. You all have the Bare Acts book, or you must have read it. Otherwise, this is the title of the act. And if you have read Article 23, it will tell you that human trafficking is a crime. Which of the crimes are moral and which of the crimes are immoral? ಅನೈತಿಕ ಅಪರಾಧ ಯಾವುದು? ನೈತಿಕ ಅಪರಾಧ ಯಾವುದು? ನನ್ನನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನೈತಿಕನ ಅನೈತಿಕನ? ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಒಡೆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನೈತಿಕನ ಅನೈತಿಕನ? ಅಪರಾಧ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ. My constitution talks about it as a crime. You also have 143 BNS which says it's a crime. Immoral Traffic Prevention Act ಅಂದರೆ ನೈತಿಕ ಸಾಗಾಣಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ? But who made this law? With due respect to all the men sitting here, a lot of men. A lot of men put together. They are not ordinary men. They are IAS, cream of the society. They are judges, neutral judges who will look at only the constitution, jurisprudence, constitutional morality. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು, that is their pillar. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಬಿಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಯಾರು ಸವಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಾಮಿ why are you using word immoral? Human Traffic Prevention Prohibition Act ಅಂತ ಬರೀರಿ. what will happen? ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ನೋ, ಇದು ಪಾಪ ಈ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ದು ಹೆಸರು ಸೀತಾ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ನಾನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಮಾಡುವವರೆಲ್ಲ ರಾವಣನ, ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಸೀತಾ. Who made the act? What will I call them? Though it sounds funny, we want to ask how these people who think, who thought they're all very well educated, much, much more than I am, and yet they had the gall to name the law like this. Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. ಅನೈತಿಕ ಕಳ್ಳ ಸಾಗಾಣಿಕೆ ಪ್ರಿವೆನ್ಷನ್, ತಡೆಗಟ್ಟೋದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ರಿಹ್ಯಾಬಿಲಿಟೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪದ ಹಾಕಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಎನಿವೇಸ್, ಎನಿ ಆಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಫೈಲ್ ಎ PIL, I will join you. And of course, the act came about as a result of India being a signatory to that act at that time, Suppression of Trafficking Act. Suppression came about as a result also of all the articles in our constitution. Next. Now we come to BNS 143. Criminalizes trafficking in all its form, protecting dignity and human rights. So if you look at BNS, it gives you a definition of what is human trafficking. Because there is a lot of study that has been done as to how this trafficking happens. So first and foremost, the person recruits, ಅಕ್ರಮದ ರೆಕ್ರೂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಧ್ವನಿ ಲೀಗಲ್ ಸೇರಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೆಕ್ರೂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೆಟರ್, ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೆಟರ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಲ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕ್ರೂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೆಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ? You befriend me, you show me and tell me that, whatever I am, Aishwarya Rai, whichever Rai. And then the next Revlon, these are case studies. When we have rescued women and young girls, they will say, no, my boyfriend said that I will be the face of Revlon. So I came with him. But he only came all the way up to the bus stop. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಯಿತು? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು put me onto the bus or put me onto the train and said that you don't get off anywhere else, just get down there. So this person recruited. The recruiters are trained to be patient. Some recruitments happen in 3 months, some recruitment happens in 1 year. Last year there was a case that was handled where this girl is just 19 years old. She enrolled herself into a college and she was a recruiter. Because you befriend all your friends in first PU, second PU, and then you tell them, and all of you know of the various cases where young people are told that, they can come as ರಿಸೆಪ್ಷನ್, ಮದುವೆ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೂವು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ರೋಸ್ ನೀರು ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ 4,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ, 5 ಗಂಟೆಯಿಂದ 10 ಗಂಟೆ. ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಪಿಕ್ ಯು ಅಪ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಯು. ಊಟನೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. What a easy thing. And what is wrong in being there and giving you hua, all of you coming for a very joyous celebration? What happens is also after that. Many of the girls, many of the young women have said that we don't remember anything after dinner. So date rape drug is also used on all of them. So that is how recruitment happens. One part. The other part of the recruitment is where the person goes into a town or into a village setting, identifying poor, vulnerable families, waiting for a crisis to happen. And crisis happens in every family. So if somebody has now fallen ill, or drought in the city, in the village, or not getting a job, then this recruiter comes literally like a savior to tell you, ಸರಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ನಾನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಸಾಲ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, 1-2 ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. I will take it because I have to send my mother to the hospital and ensure that she lives. ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ ಮೇಲೆ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಾಯಿತು, ಈಗ 3ನೇ ತಿಂಗಳು. I still can't give that money back. So that person says, okay, I told you that you must return the money without interest. Are you now willing to come and work in the city? I don't want any interest. This 20,000 that you borrowed from me, you return it back. There is nobody who will say, I will run away with your 20,000. You gave it to me in the time of need. You didn't even ask interest for it. I will agree. If you and I are in that situation, we will also agree. ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ರು ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈಗ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಮೀ ಟು ದ ಟೌನ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ಡ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಹೆಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಐ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ದ 20,000 ಟು ಯು. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ನೌ, ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ವೈಫ್, ಮೈ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ಸ್, ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್. 2 hours more for us to leave the place. ಈ ರೆಕ್ರೂಟರ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ನೀವು ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ಬಂದರೆ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಾಗತ್ತೆ ಟು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ದಿಸ್ 20,000. Why don't you get along this child of yours? Anyway, is not going to school. But you can also put the child in school over there. There it is not like your village school. So in my head it is, and then will some money come for my child? Yeah. He'll also get. Which means you can clear your debt in 1.5 months. Really? Okay. I'm also calculating. 1.5 months, bega bandbitre, ee kade male barutte. I will come back and I will take care of the land that I have, or I'm working in somebody else's land. As we are getting ready, mother is upset. 14-year-old, 13-year-old child is going away. Now it is also a season where she also doesn't have to work in the fields. Nanu bandbidtini. After all, 1.5 months alva, we'll come back. 3 people have come. So in the head of this man is, maybe in 1 month's time I can clear and come back. Once he comes here, goes in the train or in the bus, that is the transportation. The person who gave the loan to me there, or the debt that he gave to me, does not come with me all the way here. He will give ticket and say, go inside, get down over there. But don't get off down at any other station. Okay, fine. In that transport, when that person is sitting and coming, he is not alone. There is another person keeping a watch over them, ensuring that they don't get off somewhere or some other trafficker doesn't take them. So the law criminalizes that transportation. So ಈಗ ಇಬ್ರು ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒಬ್ರು recruiter, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು transporter. Then you come to transfer. Once I come from wherever into Bangalore city, there is somebody waiting for me at the station or at the bus stop to transfer me to another place. The law now looks at it and says, that is also a crime. ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಸರ್? ಏನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, ಬೇರೆ ಇವ್ರನ್ನ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪುಟ್ ದೆಮ್ ಓವರ್ ದೇರ್. You don't just walk up to somebody and say, do you want to go there? You have prior knowledge and information. These 3 people are coming, or this one girl is coming. I am part of that criminal ring. And that is how the transfer happens, and which is what 143 criminalizes. What is that? Harboring of persons, because I have now given you so many stories and a dream and all that. I will keep you in one place for the next 2 days. I will give you 3 meals. There might be even TV. You can watch any serial channel that you want. By the next day evening, I'll say, okay, give me your Aadhaar card, give me your voter ID, give me your phone. Ella nan kaige kotbittidira. Who looks after you like that? Rest tagoli, train nalli, ಬೇಜಾರಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ, bus journey was so terrible. Now I have already made all of that a trust, a relationship, a rapport. And that harboring is also criminalized. What is the means? One is threat, force, or coercion. Okay. In this particular case that I talked about, there is no threat or force, but there is lure, there's cheating, there is lies. So that part of it I didn't write there because that is also very high. But remember that also is part of the means in 143. Abduction, fraud, deception. Fraud and deception. I told lies to you, saying that I will get you a good job, I will make you the next face of whatever. Abuse of power. What is this abuse of power? This abuse of power is, maybe I've become friends with you, that we will hear in so many places. I am your senior, I'm your superior, I'm your boss, I'm your professor, I'm your lecturer, and I'm not going to sign something, your research tomorrow, if you don't do ABCD. Now, that one part of it comes over here. But we want to understand the law in all its comprehensive definition, because otherwise we can't argue this in court, because our narratives have been very, very narrowed. But abuse of power is also where I might have photographs or videos of yours, and now I'm telling, I'm going to release this if you're not going to do that. Now you're seeing a lot of young girls in different cities where they are forced into sexual exploitation because of holding on to these kind of private videos and photos. Something that you took with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, with the person that you love and trust most. And this recruitment happened over 2 years, 1.5, 2 years. I would not reach their place here just now, because while all these things did not happen, transportation, transfer, harboring didn't happen, the recruiter still happens to be my boyfriend, girlfriend, other friend. And so here what happens is all these photos. If you don't do this, so we've responded to cases where young girls have come and told, but if I don't go this evening by 6 o'clock, all these photos will be up on the TV channels. And I have to go. Is that coercion? When you talk to the police, they'll say, but she went on her own. She booked Ola. She went on her own over there. Look at the CCTV camera. But today, this law is telling you, understand it by means of threat and trafficking means that is the act. All of that is part of this law, part of this BNS section. We need to understand both of it. You can't say adu illa ರೀ ಇದು ಇದೆ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಇದ್ರೆ for the purpose of exploitation. Inducement, okay, inducement is, I told you I will give you 30,000, 20,000, or I will give you a promotion, or I will whatever that is. That also comes over here. Both these for the purposes of exploitation. So you want to understand exploitation. What is this exploitation? How did you exploit me? Did I have a choice to tell, don't exploit me? Did the context present that choice for me to make a decision? So that is why this law is so comprehensive, so strict, non-bailable, non-compoundable. And for the sake of profit, actually the word should be profiteering, but it's not coming on the AI hatra sumar sati kelade avaru haklilla adana. But I want to tell you that it is ಅದು ಅಕ್ರಮದ ಸಂಪಾದನೆ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯಿಟೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ನೋ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೀಗಲ್, ನೋ, ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟಿಯರಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ AI is also information is fed into AI by the people who hold power and a certain narrative. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದ ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದ ನಾನು ಕಿತ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ಟು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನಾನು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮನ್ಸು ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, 3 ಹೊತ್ತು ಊಟ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಜಾಗ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅದನ್ನ. ಸೊ even that, and that is why I think it is time for AI creation and feeding information into AI to have a lot more people belonging to the subordinate caste and women. Otherwise that language doesn't change. Sexual exploitation, forced and bonded labor. ಆ 3 ಜನ ಬಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ, after 2 days they go into a facility where they have taken away all these things. Okay, this is my alarm. And they are working. So if you, I don't know how many of you noticed, but day before yesterday we rescued 14 people in Tumkur from the quarries. 3 generations of people. Father took 4,000 rupees in 1989. Then he called his wife. Then the son came. Then his sister came. Then another chikkamma came. 3 generations of people in bondage. Because the person who is running that quarry is someone who's having political patronage. And because of political patronage, I can, cut corners. The mines and geology director was called in by the AC when we were doing the rescue, and he came there, he stood there and said, madam, yaar madam complain madidare? She said, yaru complain madilla. is for you to see and write the FIR. I think the first time in his 35 years of service, somebody has told him, you have come here, you have seen, now register. Mazar Madi. But that's one, we feel very happy that this lady said something like that. She's one person, and we don't know, Papa, what will happen to her tomorrow. And child exploitation. Of course, all of us know that child exploitation is rampant everywhere. Your city, my city. Highest number of child marriages that are happening. In this, what is not coming up in the AI is made to order brides, young children. So I can ask what kind of a bride I want, what age. If you get into the dark web, some of the discussions that we've had with some of the ethical hackers, they are talking about the dark web conversations, the kind of child that I would want to rape. I'm willing to pay money, and I want this person from a certain geography in a certain build. So human trafficking has reached that space today, where we may be talking about all of these things, but if we are not aware of what is happening in the dark net and in real time, we may not be able to fight it very strongly. Next, please. I think I have to rush faster. Okay. ಇದು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕಿಂಗ್ ಅದೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು, UN ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್. ಗೋ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್. So the ITPA, BNS is only for human trafficking. But after they have pushed them into sexual exploitation and servitude, we come to this particular law, ITPA. Okay, we'll call it ITPA because I feel so upset, every time saying immoral trafficking, prevention. There is an amendment that has come to this. Prostitution means sexual exploitation or abuse of persons for commercial purpose, and the expression prostitute shall be constituted accordingly. You're all lawyers. Read that again. If I have been pushed into this dhanda by ABCD, if you read this definition, it says, I am not the prostitute. The ones who pushed me into it are the prostitutes. Okay? Narrative has changed. The amendment has happened. But can you imagine the loss of business the minute the other person on the other side, the profiteer, is being called that word? Then you come to regional languages and bhashe. All our regional languages are gendered. ವೇಶ್ಯೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಯಾರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಲೆಗೆ? ಆ ಪದಾನೇ ಫೆಮಿನೈನ್ ಪದ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಪುರುಷರು ವೈಶ್ಯರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಪದ ಇದೆಯಾ? So language that was made by men, patriarchal setup, never gave this word to a man. They only in their head said, Paddane bedari. It is only this woman who will be a prostitute. That's it. So here we want to ask all of that. And now, of course, it says shifts the focus from the act to the commercialized, coercive, third-party exploitation. So anybody is a third party. Who's a third party? Pimp is a third party. The one who's coming to buy sex is a third party. The other mafia and the other people sitting over there is a third party. Human trafficking is an organized crime. And this organized crime means we on this side, the stakeholders talking about being on behalf of the people over here who are subjected to this, must also be organized. But we are the most disorganized lot, because we've compartmentalized ourselves so much that we will not even talk to each other. Forget about doing convergence and other things. The act is very clear. Any adult, so it's gender neutral, any adult, irrespective of you being man, woman, trans person, voluntarily involved in sex work cannot be penalized. So in the larger framework, they are still known as victims. Situations, circumstances, whatever you might say. You might say, no, ನಾನು ಸ್ವಇಚ್ಛೆಯಿಂದನೇ ಇದ್ರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಎಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಆದರೆ ನನಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ನೀವು ನರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಟೀಚರ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ವರ್ಕರ್, ಗೋ ಅಹೆಡ್, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಅ ಮದರ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೆಮಾಕ್ರಸೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಯು ಡೂ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಜಡ್ಜ್. And that is what this law talks about. So we need to understand it from that perspective. Next. The law is very clear: offense, legal action, punishment, and rehabilitation. So it talks about all four areas and components that are included in it. We have to stop trafficking, we have to prevent commercial sexual exploitation, penalize brothel related activities, provide for rescue. Next, we'll go to the next one. So these are sections I will not want to read with you, but just have a look at these. The sections are very clear. The section talks and tells you that if there is a, what is a brothel? So ಈ ಒಂದು ರೂಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆ ಮೂಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ದಂಧ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇಡೀ ರೂಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಮೂಲೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಬ್ರಾಥಲ್. ಕಾರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ವ್ಯಾನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, that is also a brothel. So we must understand that. And the law is a little, laws are always like that, no, two-edged sword. So can I then lock that door, or should I now build one wall over here and lock this place? That we leave it to our learned people who made this law. Living on the earnings of a prostitution. Who comes under the living of the earnings of a prostitution? The one who comes and gives you chai. Does that person fall within this? Yes, he does, or she does. So you saw in the previous slide, first party, second party, third party. ಆ ಯಪ್ಪ ಯಮ್ಮ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿನೇ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ನನಗೆ ಅವರು ಚಾಯ್ ಮಾರಿ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ಪಿಂಪ್, ನಾನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟು, the person earned? Yes. So this law says, yes, that person also. Why do you think yesterday they caught hold of that poor Zomato fellow in Jantar Mantar? Because somewhere the police will use that, saying, that one, no. If he was starving, he would have gone away from Jantar Mantar. Correct. But the Zomato fellow brought and gave him food, no? Now the fellow is going to sit there only. So that's how they will construct a case. And that is how we must understand over here. Living on the earnings of prostitution is all these people. Is the house owner part of it? He has to prove, or she has to prove, I didn't know this was happening over there. So we need to understand it in the largest framework of this definition. Procuring, inducing, here children also are brought in. Because many times we keep telling, no, she's 16 years old, she's 17 years old, she came on her own. What is that? She and her boyfriend already had sexual relationship. Till yesterday with my boyfriend, I might have had consensual relationship. Today, it shifted. The law says that is how you have to look at it. My narrative cannot be for the last 3 months I have been with the boyfriend. No. Today it has been different because of all the photographs and everything. Now my boyfriend said, if you don't do this, you and I both are going to go. Okay, fine. I love my boyfriend so much, or girlfriend so much. I went in over there. So till yesterday it was different, but today onwards, this is what happened. That is the procuring, inducing for prostitution. Prostitution in public places. Now, this is not so much of, I don't know where prostitution really happens in public place. But if that public place is a place which is a makeshift place, because here it is very, very evasive. It doesn't give you too much of how I need to understand this public place. But immediately after that is soliciting for prostitution, which again falls into public place. And in this law, any place that is understood to be a public place. That is why the police have started all kinds of pada, akkama pada madidare, kalpattaru pada madidare, yantake pada madidare, to keep women safe. Which women safe? If you have told me in the definition of this law, I have a choice to prostitute or sell sex and be a sex worker. Why would you now put this over here? So laws are always also made like that, no? And then it also says that here, this is a little more strict, where it talks about, in the earlier thing, it was 8B. So there we could get some grip and save ourselves. Here it is completely just section 8, where it talks about saying, if I'm at the bus stop, kan ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಕೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಕಾಲ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ತಲೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಸೊಲಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ನನ್ನ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬಹುದು. But we have a circular from the DG, Rupak Datta had put out a circular saying women or men or trans persons who are doing, who are standing in public places and maybe soliciting or standing there. But I don't see, you don't see men or women standing with showing their entire breast or showing their entire thigh, because that is what is understood as sensibilities are getting hurt. ಕಣ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಕೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So maybe somewhere we need to get this amended. But remember, soliciting in public place, also the police can register a case. So they are telling on one end that voluntarily adult can choose to do sex work, and in another place, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದು? Can I do it from, can I call people from my balcony or my window? ಅದು ಮಾಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ the law says that from the other balcony or from the street, if they can see that you are skimpily dressed and trying to attract somebody, then that also is prostitution. So there is a little bit of, not little bit, too much of problem. Closure of brothels. Once the FIR is registered, the police have a right to file an affidavit and ask for closure of brothels. But you and I know that all these brothels will be closed for about 3 to 6 months. ಈ ಬಾಗ್ಲಿನ ಮುಚ್ಚಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಬಾಗ್ಲಿನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದು, ಹಂಗೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಮುಲ್ಲಾಜಿಲ್ದಿದ್ರೆ you go and see some of the places. They have closed one part of the door and they have opened the other part. And so that number is something else, and this one became 20/1. So that is 20. 20 only you shut down. No, you seized and you shut down. And others, it is not broken, it is as is. 20/1 is opened. So nothing much has changed vis-a-vis my dhanda and the business that is continuing. So what does closure mean? What does this seizing mean? Protective homes for rescued people. We don't have too many protective homes. And you and I know that the protective homes run by the government is not so great. Often we also have, yesterday somebody was saying that 31% of traffickers are women. So when you go into when they go and do this so-called raid or rescue, actually the word raid should not be there. It is supposedly rescue. So when you go do this rescue with the police, the madam and the victim go and the police put both of them together. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ರಾತ್ರಿಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಾಳೆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ರಾತ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಮೇಡಮು ಆ ವಿಕ್ಟಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೇಸ್ ಬಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. The victim, you put that victim in that place. You did not follow all the nuances of this law, which said you have to separate the victim from the abusers and the traffickers and the madam. Next, please. Emerging threats in digital age: sexual exploitation, online grooming, escort services disguised as legitimate businesses, live streaming. All of this, please keep in mind, if you and I have not heard about it also, is on. It's there today. And that is why we are seeing this impunity with people, children, young babies, older people, women, everybody. You go see the observation home in Bangalore, near Madiwala. ಅರ್ಧಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹುಡುಗರು have committed rape and come in over there on a 2-year-old, on a 3-year-old, on their niece, on their nephew, on their neighbor. So you want to ask, how did they decide? Well, it's not that, the food that they are eating, that the sexual urges have increased. Oh, there is a biological development, and all of us have gone through those phases and stages. But why is it that that impunity has increased today? Demand driven exploitation networks. So you have now various forms of people who cater to that demand. Like I told you, the child brides, any kind, you can ask for any kind of porn to be available. Porn is available. And if you read up and look at what is happening in US, where all of the anti-human trafficking groups have got together, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, India is the largest producer of pornography also. There are different kinds of porn. You might have heard only of blue film, ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬೇರೆ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ? Have you heard of other films? Oh, there are various different films. There are grey films and all kinds of films. People having sex with animals, with dead people. It's available. I might pride India as digital India. We want to ask ourselves, what is this digital India that you're talking about? When this kind of content is available out there for anybody. We have no restrictions like Japan for children, or Australia or other such countries where they have put in a lot of restrictions what children can access. Cybercrime and digital platforms is, social media recruitments. I don't know if you know about that case where about 20, 30 young boys and girls went through a proper interview, went through a proper, can you dance, can you sing, for a event management company, and all of them were taken abroad. So I give you a job and then I've trafficked you. Fake marriage jobs and marriage advertisements. Today you are seeing a lot of middle aged, or those who are slightly above middle aged, getting caught with these people who have taken away money from them in the name of love. Send me this money, I'm coming to meet you. Yes, we will marry. Ah, you're a divorcee. Oh, you have separated. So it's those emotions that make us vulnerable, and those people do these things. Encrypted messaging, the dark web anonymity. Next. The demand driven exploitation networks are all of this. And the demand comes from people seeking child sexual abuse material. ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಆ ಗ್ರೂಮಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗನೇ ಆ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ನಾನು ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆರ್ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಆರ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ, ನಂದು ಫೋಟೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು 50-60 ವಯಸ್ಸು ಹೆಣ್ಮಗುದು ಹುಡುಗದು ಇಲ್ಲ. I will put another teenage photograph over there. No? And you think, oh, and my conversation is also like that. I'm trained for all of that. My conversation is like that, and suddenly I tell you one day, hey, I've come here to Malleshwaram. Come, we'll meet. In 20 minutes, you can go back home. So I don't even tell my parents I'm going out. Oh, I'm going to bring one book. I'm going to do this. 20 minutes, I'm going to be back. And so much excitement. No, after 3-4 months, I'm meeting my friend from Insta. And Papa, that friend will also go away. And if it begins to rain, I won't be able to go. So constantly, I don't know who that person is. I have never seen that person. Only that photo that is over there. And we know of many cases where young children, as young as 6-8 years old, told that, I want to see how you look. Can you just take one side of your t-shirt down? Can you just lift your skirt? Can you just put your pants down? Oh, you're so beautiful. And every time we are also, our children are also not so stupid. They don't record, okay? Don't record. No. Why will I record? You don't trust me. So the trust, which is misused. Today we have a lot of young people, young women, men also, but young women are more, coming from the poorer Bimaru states to work as domestic workers. And there are so many such cases that we are looking at. Domestic servitude. 2 weeks ago, we responded to this call in Whitefield police station, and this girl is about 19 years old, worked for 2.5 years in somebody's house. And that person is heading some big, huge office. paid only once. No other money was given to her. And constantly telling her that, I'll give you next month. Don't worry, I will give it to you. See, now your money has become so much. I put it in the bank. This much interest you have got. This is what you have got. She has to feed and cook for 6 dogs, sleep with the dogs, and then cook for the children, for the family. After she cooks for the dogs, she has to have a bath, because you and I know the dogs eat different kind of food. Have a bath and then come and cook for them. Then tomorrow morning, have a bath, cook for them, and then go to the dogs. 2.5 years. And do rest of the work. So this is domestic servitude. Some of the cases where we have responded are also this domestic servitude. They come to work over here. They may be getting their salaries, but they are also sexually assaulted by the family. Many times the wife and the partner also knows about it. Organized crime groups, okay, satisfy this demand. Quickly, we don't have more time. Okay, I'm going to leave all of this back with you, because there is no need for us to talk about these things, but just remember that this is a syndicate and it is economics. Only after that we want to understand how to break this chain of economics. Because if we don't go behind the money, then we are not really addressing the problem. And the kind of money that I told you is that much, 1,500 crores per annually. Next. The dark web, anonymity, all of this that we are talking about. But also remember, it's not always illegal and bad. Today, if we are listening to true factual content, then it is also researchers and journalists. And it gives them that anonymity. So we do not want to say that it is not okay, the dark web is not fine, but we want the police, we want the law enforcement to go behind them, because they have the wherewithal. You and I don't have it. They have it. And they need to go behind these people. And if they don't go behind these people, maybe we will continue to be fighting only at the surface. Next. We are talking of a victim-centric and rehabilitation reform. Today, we are not doing victim-centric. We are just addressing, saying, crime agide, iವರು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. But we are never looking at rescue and protection together. Many times our CWC as well as our courts send back these children and people back to their families, and they get re-trafficked. Why? Because you've not changed anything at my source area. So human trafficking and 143 BNS talks of 3 things. The source area from where people are brought, lured, coerced, induced, transit, which are the other places that they go through, easy transit, and destination. So in India, you will find that there are some places that are high source areas. Some places you can go through transit because they are connecting to all the different big cities and metros. And some cities which are destination. Bangalore and Karnataka is all 3. We are source. From here also, people get trafficked. We are also transit, very easy, because we have 5 different states that are bordering us. And we are also destination because of the kind of progress that we are doing in our state. Yeah, all of this shelter, care homes, we know what is happening. There is no trauma care in any of our homes. I don't want to get into that, because we need a lot more to discuss, time to discuss about it. But keep in mind that this is what the government and its other notifications have also come, saying that victim-centric reforms. How am I going to ensure that this child has come out of that space of servitude, from that space of gulamgiri and fear? Why will they not run away? Somebody said, why can't you run away from the brothel? Because one person we rescued, and the police person asked, this girl, when I was talking to her, she's about 19 years old, but she was taken over there when she was 14. So she's giving her statement to the police. And the writer is telling, madam, ಅವರು ತಿಂಗಳು ಏನದು ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಪಾರ್ಲರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಂತೆ. ಓಡೋಗ್ಬಹುದಲ್ವಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಓಡೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ರೀ. ಯಾಕೆ? She cannot run away, she cannot escape. Why? First and foremost, they have told The fear is, I will throw acid on your face. I will trace your family and I will finish them off. Third, you cannot show your face anywhere else. You can't get any work, because I would have ensured that I will tell everybody you're a thief, you're a you're a woe, you've stolen. And many of them, the minute this person has gone away and not come back in 1 hour or 1.5 hours, immediately they have already filed FIR. You and I find it very difficult to file FIR, alva? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಕಳ್ತನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, 2 ಲಕ್ಷ ಒಡವೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು FIR ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು what we had before this 2 weeks ago we did another rescue in Chikbalapur. The crime police is telling, 2 months ago, did I not bring you back when you ran away? I said, oh, he never told. Right in the statement. He, with such arrogance. You ran away, employer came and filed FIR, I had to look for you and I brought you back, isn't it? So employer has already filed. So you must keep in mind, official complicity and convergent coordination working very high. So we shall not tell that our police are incompetent. No. Our police are not quick. No. Our police are not professional. No. They are all of this. Not for you and me. Challenges in prosecution of ITPA, identification, which the police rarely do. And it's much of the NGOs that are doing this work. But that is one of the most critical steps, because many victims don't even know that they are in situations of servitude and bondage. Weak documentation and witness hostility. Of course, 184 statement, higa 184. Statement tagond mele kuda, you want to call me for your testimony after 2-3 years? Here one side I'm counseling you, saying forget about it, ಮರ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಡು, ಅದು ನಿನ್ ತಪ್ಪಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ನಿನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ರಮ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಈಗ ಆ ದಿನ ನೀನ್ ಏನ್ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದೆ? No offense to any defense lawyer, but you want to know what is the question you want to ask with respect, dignity and sensitivity. Of course you want to get to the truth, but not at the cost of destroying this other person's dignity. And witness hostility ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಾರೆ, because one question you ask me, I can't remember. ಆ ದಿನ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ನಾಷ್ಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ? ನಿನ್ನೆ ಏನು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿದೀವೇ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ನೀವು 3 ವರ್ಷ ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನಾಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. Is this the way you want to fight this battle? Traffickers use victim limited counseling and rehabilitation. Bangalore City Court Hall Nodi. I'm not, again, this is criticism because I'm talking of it from that side of, you built a new court hall. This law has been in vogue from 1986. Court hall nalli entrance exit court ge ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಲ್ವಾ? ವಿಕ್ಟಿಮ್ ಸರ್ವೈವರ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು, ಅಕ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು, ಇಬ್ರು ಒಂದೇ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮೊದಲು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ನು ಹಿಂಗೆ ನೋಡಲ್ಲ. He will not get any threats with his eyes or her eyes. Even that you could not do. You have built a new one. Forget about all that was built 40 years ago. Not asking. You built something new now. Where is this space where you have told this person you can feel safe? Sit there. Don't worry. We'll call. In camera you have told. Fine. But I will come through the same door, get out. Avunu hogbidli madam, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಹೋಗಿ. Our court police will say, because he's protecting us, you see. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ಲಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಹೋಗಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ ರೀ, ನಾವು ಬೇಗ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಬಸ್ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ 5 ಗಂಟೆ ಆದಮೇಲೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೋಗಿ, ನಾನು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. So that's the kind of talk. So we are looking at an entire system that is not looking at rehabilitation and restoration of the dignity of the person who has been trafficked and put into sexual servitude. Interstate, all this is very slow, resources, understaffed. Even CSR will not give us funding for anti-human trafficking work. ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಎಡ್ಯುಕೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ, ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ, ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ತಾನೇ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರಬೇಕು ಸ್ವಾಮಿ. No, somebody else will do that. So somebody else, nobody. So we are like 4.5 people doing this work. And then we are talking about why they are getting re-trafficked again. So The state has the responsibility. This is a crime against the state. And the state must take that responsibility to ensure that their AHTU, anti-human trafficking units, are well equipped with all the resources. Sometimes we will have somebody who will say, ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೊಯ್ಸಲಾಗೆ ಕಾಯ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನೀವು ಕಾಯ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ತನಕ ಅವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಾರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. If your minister's dog is lost, you are going running with 5 guardians to look for the dog, but you will not come to rescue this child that I'm talking about. Lack of forensic tools. ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಕೂಡ we are sending our test to go to Hyderabad and do it and come. But we want to talk about ourselves as progressive Silicon City. So the forensic evidence, medical. It takes us 14-16 hours to get one medical done. And everybody says, I'm waiting, 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನನ್ನ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಕೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬರಬಾರದು. Why is it not educated and told to that person that when you become a government doctor, all of this is your job, not some charity. ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಚ್ಛೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮನ್ಸು ಮಾಡೋದು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ನನಗೆ ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ಬಂದೆ. ಸರಿ, ಅದು ಹೇಳುವ. ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೌಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ವಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾದರೂ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ? ನೀವು 8 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರಲ್ವ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ? ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಚೆಕ್. Then you will see these fellows will not come for deposition on court on the day. And then you will put entire burden on the survivor and say, oh, she turned hostile or he turned hostile. And these are all my lamentations. Okay. Next. Idiya? Ilva? Agogidya? Oh. Okay, idu beda. Go next. All this is done. I'm leaving all these things back with you. Family, community reintegration is our biggest challenge. You said this is going on YouTube, no? So there are some things that I would not be able to talk about this integration. We will talk later. But remember that even our families are not willing to take these people back. That said, our communities do not want them to take it back. There's one particular case where we put that this girl was rescued when she was 16, and for about 3.5-4 years she was with us, went to college, and then decided she didn't like college. She went to community college and became a fantastic tailor. She could stitch anything, cut anything. You can ask for, probably if somebody came and told her, I want that design, she doesn't even have to see how that dress is. Someone is wearing it and she could do it. And so she set up a small shop, and after some time she said, no, I'm going back to my uru. Okay, fine. One fellow who had gone to her 3 years ago recognized her, passed the word around to everybody and said, don't stitch your salwar kameez and blouse from her because she is from there. This fellow is the prostitute. Alva? ಅವನು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಸ್ಕೊಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ. But he spread that, and then she was not even able to keep that shop there. So when we talk of community, we want to tell the community this patriarchal, sexist, misogynistic narratives that have been coming to us. Oh, she's wearing tight jeans. Oh, she's wearing sleeveless. Oh, she's wearing tank top. ಅವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕಣ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಲು, ಹಂಗೆ ನಗ್ದ್ಲು. ಹುಡುಗರು ಹಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವ? We don't go and pinch your butt and all that, no? How many girls have you seen pinching a boy's butt? No, very few, if they do at all. Maybe that out sheer revenge. But how do you see? You don't. But a narrative na nan hakbittu, she can't be too good. So that patriarchal narrative that is there continues into this, and either the enforcement or the lack of enforcement of this law and all its sections, because that is how the system and the structures are. All of the systems and the structures are patriarchal. So you know that systems are patriarchal, and because systems are patriarchal, our battle is even more difficult. Next. So here we want to put down over here victim-centric principles, respect and dignity, confidentiality. Remember that even our courts and our child welfare committee members, with due respect to all of them, I'm not condemning them, but this is what is happening. There is no confidentiality. There are cases where we have seen of children who have been sexually assaulted and abused and raped. And POCSO case, the alleged accused has been caught, and information going to that person saying that this is the statement she's given over here. Court case is already gone. So that confidentiality is not being maintained. Informed consent. Through this law, there is no consent given if I am in a situation of servitude. Consent is immaterial if the person is a minor. Who is a minor? Today is my 18th birthday. Am I minor or major? Quickly, lawyers. Huh? No. What is above 18? Tomorrow is my 19th birthday. I am a major tomorrow. 18 ಯಾವಾಗರಿ ತುಂಬಿಸ್ತೀವಿ? ಪದ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ? 18 ತುಂಬಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ತುಂಬಿಸ್ತೀನಿ? ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಸೆಡ್, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್, ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಲಿಸನ್ ಟು ಮೀ. ಚಲಾಯಿಸೋ ಗಾಡಿ. ಈ ಪಾಪ ಅವರು ಎಥನಾಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು, ನಾವು ನೀರಿನಲ್ಲಿನೇ ಚಲಾಯಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ದೂರ. Non-discrimination, keep in mind. The people sitting in positions of power, when the case comes before them and they see that this person is a Dalit, the mannerism of questioning changes. The way the person looks at you, the person in power, judge, prosecutor, gumasta, whoever, judicial officer, I'm not given my constitutional guaranteed entitlement to be heard without being judged. So this non-discrimination is something that needs to be taught to people, which means they have to be trained. Child and gender sensitive approach. Yes, this comes back again to saying that ಆ ಊರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ ರೀ, ಇವತ್ತೇ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾಳಂದ್ರೆ ಆವಾಗ ಏನು ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ಲು? Many times I've heard people question. So you keep using people question because I do not want to name the persons who are there, but you need to understand, when we go into a court, who are the people there? Those are the people. Can I do that? Who is to question you? Who is to hold you accountable? Nobody. That is why that support person that is there in under POCSO cases, we have a child and you can have a support person. The support person speaks on behalf of the child. So constantly we tell that child, if you're uncomfortable answering, you just put your head down and don't answer. And all of you know how defense asks questions. Some of the rescues that I have made, and I am either A1 or sometimes complainant or Mazarnali Irtini, haga they will say, prove madam how you are not the madam of that brothel. I said, you prove, that is your job, not mine. What were you trying to do? Insult me? Humiliate me? Of course, I don't get scared. And I'm so thick-skinned. Insult, humiliation ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳುವಾಗ ನಿನಗೇನೆ ಸ್ವಾಭಿಮಾನ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? Because you know who your client is. Here there is a child, young person rescued and brought over here. You want to be sensitive, you want to have a gender sensitive approach to that person. And if that person is going to feel scared at a place where I'm going to bring the accused to justice, what should I say about our society, our community, our systems? So the law is on one side, but remember, the larger part of it is the narratives. The narratives that take over the sections. Next. Okay. Idala jasti matri. You can read it later on. Next. It is up to us to recognize. For us to recognize, we need to understand what this is. It can be in any which way. You want to respond. I cannot go and do anything there, but I will at least call somebody and tell them. You can call 1098 Makkala Sahayavani, you can call 112, and if your patience is taken away, when you dial the numbers and they say ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದರೆ 1 ಒತ್ತಿರಿ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದರೆ 2 ಒತ್ತಿರಿ, ಒಡಿಶಾನಲ್ಲಿ 7 ಒತ್ತಿರಿ, ಅಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾಯ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು 40 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಗೋಗಿದೆ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಮಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇಲ್ಲ. You're most welcome to call numbers that I can share with you as well as mine. We will pick up your number any time of the day or night. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಜಾಬ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್. ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಇಸ್ ತುರ್ತವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕರೆನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಮತ್ತು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಟೋಮೇಟೆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ತುರ್ತವಾಗಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, 10 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಇಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟ್, ಬಟ್ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಾತು ಕೇಳಲೇಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? ಆವಾಗ ತಾನೇ ನನಗೆ ಭರವಸೆ, ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ. ಓಕೆ, ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಅ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಗರ್ಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್ ಕೇರ್ ಆಫ್, ಆರ್ ದ ಬಾಯ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್ ಕೇರ್ ಆಫ್, ಆರ್ ದ ವಿಕ್ಟಿಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಲುಕ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್. ಸೊ you need to respond as a citizen. You and I have no right to be bystanders. No right whatsoever. No excuse can be given. Rescue, of course, has to happen. Whoever is the rescue to be done, they will do the rescue. Rehabilitation, law is very clear on how I have to rehabilitate. Restoration, we have just another 200 years to go, because all of us are not going to change our mindset. Gender parity, man and woman must get the same salary for the same job. UNIFEM is telling it will take us 258 years. ಅದಕ್ಕೇನೆ 258 years ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಗಬಹುದು? ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಹೋಪ್ಫುಲ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ that is the hope that propels us every day to go forward and say, no, tomorrow will be different. No, Ashwini is there as my support. Yes, Archana will be there, and that's the only hope. But keep in mind, this is not any single agency's job. It's all our jobs. Everybody. And why everybody? Because this has reached your doorstep and mine. Neither your children are safe, nor my children are safe. So if you ever had this feeling that, my children are fine, I've given them a phone, they can look after themselves, they will reach here. We are human beings and we are vulnerable. And that vulnerability is just that much. So what you watch on TV, on Netflix, is just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you.